So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor? He's like, no, I'm gonna look up the symptoms. I said, your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance. So he said, I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.
Welcome to this edition of Lancaster Perspective. I'm Mike Miller. Thanks for tuning in today. My special guests, Geoff Burns from Geneva Hill and Joe McCoy from Winners Academy. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to talk a little bit about collaborations you guys are having together here in a few minutes. But Geoff, let's start with you. Geneva Hills, you just become involved with it over the last couple of years. Talk a little bit about Geneva Hills.
Yeah, I've been involved with Geneva Hills since 2005. Over the last few years, there's been some changes. It was founded in 1959 by a Presbyterian church, and in the last few years, they've decided that they didn't want to deal with it anymore. It's been too much of an outreach mission, not exactly what they're focused on within the church themselves. And so locally, they've created a new nonprofit organization. The Geneva Hills Group, Inc. is what their official title is, and they've acquired the property. They're a 501c3. It's made up of all local members, all within Fairfield County. We have a couple of former and current clergy that are actually board members and things like that are giving us guidance, and we've been really excited about the transition that we've been able to make and continue to grow and make an impact in the community.
Now, Geneva Hills is just south on 33 on Tarkiln Road.
Blue Valley Road.
Blue Valley Road, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Just talk a little bit about the activities that go on there and website, phone number, if people want to get a hold of it.
GenevaHills.com. Phone number is 746-8439, or we have a toll-free, it's 855-MY-GENEVA. And as far as activities go, we're open all year round, all 12 months. Different activities going on, obviously depending on the season. But starting off at the beginning of the year, we get a lot of groups that want to do like a yearly kickoff, maybe come out and bring their youth group or part of their church, civic organizations, things like that, and kind of start off the year that way by having an event. We also do winter camps in February for typically 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. We'll come out for a weekend, usually surrounding Valentine's Day. And then as you get into March, we have a lot of outdoor education opportunities that we'll do, experiential education, things like that. Outside the box thinking is what we like to work on. And in May, we get a lot of projects, a lot of volunteer projects. That happens in April as well, but those continue on. And then in the summer months, we get a lot of summer camps. Organizations will run their own programs at our facility, or we run our own summer camps, typically 10 weeks out of the summer. And we have a public pool that's available. We have a ropes course. We have initiatives courses for team building, 2 lakes. We got boats. We got 10 miles of hiking and biking trails. I mean, it just goes on and on.
It's a lot of stuff to do.
Yes.
Now, do you do corporate events too? Do you bring like corporate people come in and have challenges and do the ropes and things
Absolutely.
like that?
We're growing that right now significantly. We do a lot of luncheons and banquets where they'll come in for a day, sometimes longer, but usually just a full day where they'll come in the morning, and we'll do different types of activities with them, and then they'll have some kind of a seminar or an annual meeting or something like that, and we'll provide them with food as well. We can do all that.
Well, we're going to get the crew to come down there, and we're going to have a challenge, and we're going to see who's the most fit in the group.
That'd be great.
Joe, you're involved in Winners Academy, and actually talk a little bit about it, because I know this is something you've been doing the last couple of years now.
Actually, we're starting into our 4th year right now. It's something that started back in about '06. I come out of inner city Columbus, working in a similar program, and Dr. Joyce Swain headed that up. And she says, they need something like that in Fairfield County. You might want to think about that. We're a very small program. We say that we don't look like, act like, or feel like a regular school, and we do it on purpose. Because the type of students that we work with tend not to do real well in classrooms that have rows of desks and columns and things like that. So we spend a half a day in real rigorous academics, spend a half a day in residential construction as well, where they earn a nationally recognized certificate in construction. And the purpose of the construction piece is to help build confidence for these students, and when they see that they're doing something positive there, that really translates back to the classroom, especially in math and science, because they see how it actually applies. And the students we get are usually behind a little bit. We help them to get caught up. We customize each education program to the particular student, to their needs. Try to service them the best we can. Try to mainstream them back into a public school or to a private school, or help them get through and earn a high school diploma or a GED at times, and kind of get them back on their feet and get them back on track.
When did you decide to do in your life? When did you say, "Gee, this is something I want to do"?
I grew up in construction, in a construction family. My family's still here in Fairfield County working. We've been here since 1962 working. But it was in the spring of '99 I felt like the calling, if you will, to go back to college and finish an education degree, and I've been teaching since 2002.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been in this since about 04.
Right.
Started in this in about 04.
And your classes are small by design. You don't want big classes.
Exactly. There's only 7 students for one teacher on purpose. And how we came up with that was interesting. We looked at how sports teams, how many coaches are on a sports team. Some varsity basketball teams only have 12 players, but they'll have 3 or 4 coaches.
Right.
Well, why do you do that? And so that you can get a lot of individualized attention, so that you can maximize your time that you have available. So we do the same thing with our students, and so they get a lot of hands-on, and they need a lot of hands-on, and it's been really rewarding, really rewarding.
And now you've partnered with Geoff, and you guys are working together on both sides of this, construction side of it and the teaching side of it.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the collaboration between you two that has been developed.
Well, it was a year ago. We started about a year ago together. We thought, there's an opportunity here. We have our classrooms at the campsite. And the campsite, being established in 1959, 1960, is obviously at a stage where it needs a lot of renovation and updating and things like that. And we obviously need projects all the time, so it works great for us. We have our classes right there at the campground, which is awesome. For example, this year we're teaching biology. We have a 350-some acre lab that we can work in, which is a lot of fun, and the kids love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great to get outside. Hey, let's go find out about this. And then there's a lot of multiple projects that we can work on there, and so it benefits both of us tremendously. And we've not only been, last year we partnered, but we're actually, Geoff has suggested this year, and we're just in the first stages of actually merging our 2 programs, where there'll be Winners Academy will actually come under the umbrella of Geneva Hills this year, and just starting in the first stages of that. So that's pretty exciting.
It is.
He can talk about the infrastructures for both of us, but it's just a great collaboration coming together there. I'm excited, and I know Geoff is too.
When you started this, Geoff, was it something that you saw as a win-win situation for Geneva Hills?
Well, yeah, Joe and I have talked a number of times. We can't even remember exactly how we got in contact with each other, but it's been a real blessing, I think, for both of our programs. We just don't have the funds to hire on a full-time maintenance person that has the skill set necessary and the ability, and really it takes more than one person for a lot of the projects that we need to get done. And so this union that we've kind of developed over time, last year starting, and as we look at growing together, it's been a real blessing, because now there's an unlimited amount of projects that they can be working on, both large and small projects, not just something like, okay, we're going to fix the plumbing on a small sink. I mean, that's good to know, but for what they're trying to do as a real understanding of construction, we've got all kinds of projects. At the same time, I need someone that knows what they're doing, that's not going to be paying a professional $100 an hour to do the work that we need to get done. And it really helps us out, because the pace at which they can work is far greater than anything we could do on our own. Plus the quality, the understanding that Joe brings with his experience with the construction really fits in. And then Geneva Hills, being the educational facility that it is, matches up 100% with the fact that we have literally a school, an academy at our facility now. There's too many things that fit. It just made sense, and everything we've looked at so far has shown we're going somewhere. This is going to be something much bigger than it is right now, and it could happen very soon.
And we talk. It sounds like just a great thing. We always talk about funding. We have to have money to do all these things. And talk a little bit about funding. I know that you can use funding, but is it something that, are there grants available? Are there private donations, corporate donations? What kind of funding is involved in not only running Geneva Hills, but also in the Winners Winners Academy?
Well, from the Geneva Hills perspective, right now, because we're still separate, we kind of find our own funds for our own stuff. The only crossover that we've really had has been the materials that they use, for the most part, have come out of the Geneva Hills funds for maintenance and things like that. But fortunately for Geneva Hills and for Winners as we move forward, my wife does fundraising professionally. That's what her profession has been.
And is very good at it.
Is very good at it. Yes, that's cannot be overstated, actually. So from a funding perspective, we have got the majority of them have been private donations, individuals. Even if you go to, say, a company, a small business, you ultimately end up at a person or a group of people that make the decision. And I hate to say you're convincing them. Really what we do is we expose them to what we're doing, show them the value of it, and it's that kind of return on investment that they're looking for. For every dollar that I consider giving to you, what's the difference that I'm making in this community? How does that manifest itself? And so they aren't looking for how much money am I going to get back in my pocket. They're looking for how much of an impact they're having with those dollars. And we've been able to show significant impact by doing that through the partnerships with Winners Academy. Someone gives you $10 to do a project. Typically, you've got a third of that's going out the window because of other expenses. That doesn't cost us with the Winners Academy. We just buy the materials and we're helping each other's programs, and so it increases that impact that a construction project just simply. So we have some grants available. We've been awarded some grants last year. Fairfield County Foundation through the Wendell Fund gave us some sizable funds, which we're open to continue with, to work on our wetlands development and renovation and things like that. So they're private funds, there's public funds available, but ultimately it comes down to the individuals, predominantly in this community, that said, you know what, we care about what you're doing. Let's see more of it happen.
One of the things that we always talk about is the cycle of life, and that talking about you coming out of inner city and people coming back to understanding that what it takes to build that foundation again. I mean, we've gotten away from so many things in our life in the last 20 years, and we're going back now to going to the parks and spending time with family. We're not doing all those things. And talk a little bit about what it's meant to you to be involved not only with this, but some of your own experiences of just coming back and helping those.
It's been fun for me. In the spring of 1978, I actually spent 3 days and 2 nights at Geneva Hills when I was in the 6th grade for outdoor education when I was in school there. So it's been fun to come back and see some of the old covered wagons where we slept and those kind of things. And I said, oh yeah, this is part of my childhood. I remember lugging my duffel bag up this hill here. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. So it's always fun to do that. It's breathing new life back into this campground where it's been a part of so many people's lives. Great memories there, and we can make that for the next generation. It's been a lot of great fun, and I not that I'm a huge nostalgia buff, but there's a little bit of that for me anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Are you getting more and more people coming out to do this that normally would go to spend vacation in other ways, or coming back to the Geneva Hills?
We've had a lot of that. Part of it has been the shift from being a Presbyterian facility that did allow outsiders, so to speak, but not extensively, to being an organization that is focused on the community and being a partner with the community. That's been a real big change. So we're seeing a lot of people that even used to live down the road that said, I've driven past this for 20, 30 years and I've never stopped in. Right. What is Geneva Hills? So we're getting that every single day. At the same time, we're providing activities and events and things like that. So people are understanding that, I didn't know about this. People that still want to go and have a place to stay, a lodge, maybe a camp facility, something like that, but some of the state parks or some of the nicer facilities are out of their budget just because the economy dictates that people have less money to spend, has opened Geneva Hills up, because as a nonprofit, we're not trying to make money, we're just trying to break even with our own expenses. And then they see all we have to offer and they're going, I didn't even know this was here. I think we should keep coming here for years and years down the road. And we've had a lot of growth because of that. So while most people the economy has been detrimental to, for our facility, it's actually been beneficial. It's really exposed us to a lot of people that have now said, I don't think I want to go anywhere else. And so that's been really helpful.
Are you seeing more and more families that are doing this type of activity rather than going to maybe just something different? They're coming back and spending a campground, you know, a couple nights at a campground, something like that?
We get a lot of families that make this their annual or semi-annual place. They'll go camping, or we get a lot of family reunions, birthday parties, things like that. And so I think there's a push to, whether it be economics or otherwise, there's a push to not just read about nature in your textbooks and in school, but to actually get out there and see it and experience it. You know, it's great to hear about what's in the water and the different, you know, fish or aquatic organisms. It's a different thing to go play in the stream all day. And what you can learn just by feeling and touching nature and being there is such a good push right now that we're seeing, I think.
Joe, I know you deal with a lot of different kids with different backgrounds. I mean, is it something when they first go to like Geneva Hills, like, there's trees here, there's water? I mean, is that something that they're not exposed to before, being around nature like that?
Most of them are not at all, and it's a huge calling card for us.
Right.
You know, they get out and they get to do this because when we take our breaks, you know, it's because we're all self-contained, we don't have to change classes. We'll go outside and, you know, right out into the woods, and, you know, we'll play hacky sack in between classes just to get our blood moving, those kind of things. And there's all types of turkey, deer, you know, they're right around our classroom, and they have total amnesty, so the deer come right up to us. You know, they know we're not gonna bother them or anything, so it's fun for them. Oh wow, you know, hey, you know, we saw it. Yeah, they're here. They're gonna be here. Just go ahead and give them a name, because. One thing I didn't mention, you know, with our program, this is for high school students. Obviously, since we're moving into construction and helping them with that, they have to have be at a certain age, and we do work with power tools. We will go up on heights and things like that, you know, such as last year we had one project where we rebuilt a picnic area, redid the entire roof, tore it off, reframed it, put on new sheet metal, that kind of thing. So, I mean, these kids aren't just doing small little, you know, hobby jobs. We get into it, you know. In this upcoming year, we have several bathrooms that are going to be complete renovations, gutted down to the studs, kind of thing, and so they'll be exposed to every aspect of demolition, framing, insulation, electrical, plumbing, drywall, ceramic tile work, all of those kind of things, cabinet making, all that type of stuff. We try to hit as many different areas as possible, so they can be exposed to as many different areas as possible.
Now, the Winners Academy, is this something that can go outside of Geneva Hills, maybe partner with somebody else?
Well, you know, we want to go out and work a little bit with some other people just for community service projects, things like that, just to help keep more of a community outlook or focus on it, and you know, so that we're not always there. You know, sometimes the kids, it's fun for them to go out and work on a different project outside of just the campground itself, and be able to go, and we try to do at least one of those a year for that. And you know, as far as finding projects and that kind of stuff, that was never and has never been a problem. Oh, by the way, I got this project. Yeah. So it just made it easy. We're at Geneva Hills. That's our project. And we'll never run out of stuff to do there. No. By the time we're done, we'll be ready to go again.
It's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. It takes 5 years to do it, and you start again. Some of the challenges that you guys face, I know funding we've talked about, but
we urge you to donate.
If people do want to donate, send it to Geneva Hills, send it to Winners Academy. What's the
Geneva Hills? Everything, since we're going to be combining our programs, you know, we've taken everything down, and we've actually closed our bank accounts and things, because we're going to be merging in with that. So everything can go right to Geneva Hills. It can be just in care of Winners Academy. And we have a nonprofit status as well. That'll fall under the umbrella of Geneva Hills as well as an educational opportunity. So it can be.
So if people want to donate, they can send it directly to Geneva Hills, and then you guys. We talked a little bit about challenges. Why Geneva Hills? I know you've got a background, and we're talking about, actually, you've written a book.
Yes.
And Joe, you're working on one.
Yeah.
But talk about the challenge of Geneva Hills. Is it something that, so you were driving by one day and said, oh, gee, I want to do this?
Definitely not. I have a lot of history. Joe mentioned being there at camp and doing his outdoor ed for a few days. My story goes a little bit further than that. My mother was there in junior high. My parents had their wedding reception at the lodge, where Joe's done a few projects for us already. And then when I was about 8 years old, I first started going out there. And the story my mom tells me is that I said I was going to run the place someday. What I've come to learn is you're more run by the place. But no, I have a lot of history there, and I've always been interested in going. Geneva Hills is something that's important. It's been a big portion of my life as a kid, growing up, things like that. So I wanted to help if there was ever an opportunity, and whether you call it fate or chance, or I just don't believe in coincidence, the Presbytery said, you know what, funding is too much. We're going to shut this thing down, see what happens. In the meantime, I was available. I'd already gotten my education in in environmental science, and had a lot of history with the camp. There's just too many things that fell into place, and this calling came up, and I said, I'll accept the challenge, and so we've been really excited about it. But actually, the book that I wrote kind of uses Geneva Hills as a case study for nonprofits in general.
And what's the name of the book?
Rescuing the Mission, and it came out beginning of August, and so it's been really exciting using it as an example for people that care about, even if they don't care about Winners Academy or Geneva Hills. The book itself kind of sets you up on the main things you need to be successful as a nonprofit, and it uses Geneva Hills, the last decade or so's history, as an example of how you had to overcome and adapt and make changes in order to survive, whether it be fundraising or otherwise. So, overall, I care about what it is. I care about what the ministry is there.
Sure.
We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't.
Right. Biggest challenge in Winners Academy you faced when you first took over that you just didn't expect?
Oh, wow. Probably fundraising and the administrative side of it, and that's where it's been great. I bring a piece of infrastructure to Geneva Hills that they don't have, but the piece of infrastructure that they bring for Winners Academy is huge for me. What his wife does is 1 in a million or 10 million, with fundraising, things like that, and all the administrative duties. I know it sounds funny, but as a school teacher with all the paperwork involved, I hate paperwork. Oh, it's a minion of the devil. It's just, I don't know what, how did you survive without paper, And
paperless.
It's just, but all of those kind of things is keeping up with it, and that's really tough for me. So it makes a great marriage, and I sleep a lot better at night knowing that where we're headed.
Right.
That somebody else can be kind of overseeing that. I can still help with it, and I still work with fundraising and still want to work with the presentations and that kind of thing for traveling and all that kind of stuff, and always updating my skills, personal skills, to be able to do that. But that's a hard gig to,
Absolutely.
Geoff and I believe in it, and we were talking yesterday, if we were playing poker, we've pushed all our chips into the middle.
Exactly.
And we're all
Sure.
in, but it's having someone there to help you on the river there, when you get a little, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
And that's his wife, and there's a great staff, great board at Geneva Hills. They're just a lot of good people. It's a great marriage.
Was there ever a time that you and your wife sat down at the very beginning and said, "Whoa, this is bigger than we thought"? I think
we sit down at the table every night and say that. No, it's I am a Christian. I'm very pleased to say that, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I really do believe that this is far bigger than what I am, what Joe is, what even Christy is.
Sure. Yeah.
We're just the instruments that are doing the work right now.
Yep.
We've been called to do it, and so the groundwork is being laid. It could have just as easily been somebody else, but that's the calling that we've accepted, and so it's by His hand that a lot of the success has taken place, because we're being told this is important to me. Go do this work on my behalf, and and claim in my name what you're doing, and we said, okay, we'll do that. So the difficulties are always offset by the comfort knowing that it's more than just something I want to do, it's something I'm called to do.
Yeah.
If you were to put together a business plan and try to merge two companies together, you couldn't have put a plan together better than the way this one's working, because all the pieces just perfectly mesh. and we just sit back and think, wow. And it's just coming together that way.
Well, we're glad you did. We just have a few minutes left. And one more time, phone number, website, open house. If people want, can they come through at any time? Or?
Sure, it can come through at any time. The website's genevahills.com. Local phone number 740-746-8439 or toll free 855-MY-GENEVA. And as far as getting to know the camp, if you want a really open, non-confrontational, just take a look at it. Treat us like a park. You can come in at any time. There's no cost. We do ask for donation, but that's just because of being a private organization. We don't have any public funds that come in to support us, like taxes or anything. Every Friday in October, though, we're doing a thing called Firelight Fridays, and that's open. It's a suggested $3 donation. We've partnered up with Uck's Fruit Farm and Sharp Farms nearby. We're going to have hay rides going, night hikes, field games, campfires, s'more station, cider, pumpkin painting, live music.
Sounds good to me.
All of that. Just come out from 6 to 10 p.m. every Friday in October.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
That is neat. If people want to get in Winners Academy, is there a process to go through? Or
They do need to sit down with me and go through an interview process to make sure that what Winners Academy offers will fit the student, and that the student will fit, what Winners Academy offers, that kind of thing. Call the camp. They can get all my contact information. We can set up that interview. It's no problem. We'll accept them right up until the last 9 weeks. We'll take them on after the last 9 weeks. It's a little. We want to push back to the next year, but always accept new students and look for them.
Fantastic.
It's fun.
Geoff Burns from Geneva Hill, Joe McCoy from Winners Academy. We appreciate you guys coming on today. We share a medical experience between us we won't get into, but
we're both happy to have hair today.
We're both happy to have hair today. Exactly it. Before you guys take off, question about the Buckeyes. Thoughts about this season?
I'm more concerned about who's going to win the cup. In the NASCAR.
Oh, okay. And who are you taking?
That's tough. I'd love to see Carl Edwards take it, but boy, it's tough to bet against that 48 team.
No,
it's tough to bet against.
Absolutely.
Well, Fickle's got my vote. I grew up watching him. He was one of my idols, if you will, as a kid when playing football myself, and so. He's in a no-win situation whatsoever. Even when he does win the games, he's in a no-win situation for himself. So, whatever he's doing, nothing compares. There's only two things you don't ever want to be. One's going to be president, and the other's the follow-up coach at Ohio State. So,
yeah. Gentlemen, we appreciate very much you guys coming in. Thanks. Have a great week. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for tuning in on this edition of Lancaster Perspective. And remember, until we meet again, let's make a difference.
I didn't need help from anybody. I was good at everything. And the drugs and the alcohol, I couldn't stop doing it. I went down a path of destruction. It was just about escaping the feelings. I never used one without the other. It was chaos. Dump trucks, insanity plowed into us. I know it was the devil. I actually got suspended from baseball. I said, I need help, and I can't do it anymore. I fell on my own. You do with me what you want to do with me, but I surrender.